proving we did this.
Excellent.
We're live. So let's take a peek. I was just saying it. I feel like I'm on Love Boat.
All right.
The Love Boat.
And we already have a couple of folks in the chat room, Toppie. It looks like we've got Aunt Tudor and we've got Moran. Do we want to give it just a couple more minutes?
Maybe 1 minute, and then we should start.
Okay. So I've got an idea of what I'm going to say here, and I've got an opening memorial. What the hey? How about I just start with that little memorial, sir?
I think that's a good idea.
Recently, a member of the podcasting community unexpectedly suffered the loss of a loved one. Now more than ever, it is important that we all put our affairs in order. Become an organ donor. Make sure that you have a will. Don't let fate decide for those that matter to you. Sending love and light to those affected. Good evening, and welcome to Matinee Minutia. Tonight, we're taking a trip to Southern California and dropping by the home of one Phyllis Neffler, Cookie Queen of Beverly Hills. Won't you join us here at the fabulous Marionette Theater? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Marionette Theater, the beautiful historical Marionette. And tonight, by my side, I have my partner in crime, Mr. Toppie Smellie.
Hey, DJ, but you know what? Tonight, rather than the Marionette Theater being historical, tonight it's going to be hysterical because we have a special guest.
We certainly do, and without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce her. Coming to us from the Commonwealth of Maryland, the fabulous, beautiful, multifaceted, multi-talented D'Manda Martini.
Hi! Hello! Hi, DJ. Hi, Toppie. Thank you all so much for bringing me back here to the historical theater. The theater that I can't remember the name of.
That's
I've been to so many. You know, it's a show, airplane, another club, airplane.
Right. And you know what, folks, what you should know is there may be one thing about the coronavirus situation we find ourselves in, and that's that normally on a Friday night, D'Manda would not be sitting around at home at her computer. So we can at least say that, that here's one good thing that came about because we're social distancing. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, tonight's movie is so good that she virtually had to break quarantine to be here.
I mean, literally. This such a good movie that we're talking about tonight. Such a good movie.
All right, DJ, Gertie's hanging around here somewhere, although she's a little bashful because of D'Manda, but she's downstairs. She says she's ready to do the intro.
Alrighty, folks. So without further ado, here is our senior showgirl to spell it out for you and what we're going to discuss tonight.
Phyllis is the reluctant Beverly Hills trophy wife of the Muffler King. Just as her husband is moving to the pool house, she's asked to step up to the plate and take charge of her daughter's scout troop. Will she learn to start a campfire? Will she figure out how to pitch her own tent? Will she just break a nail? Have your butler put your fondue fixins and a sleeping bag, because it's time for Jelly Long and Craig T. Nelson in Troop Beverly Hills. Take it away, boys.
What you get when you take a dash of the silver screen a pinch of golden oldies, and a smidgen of screaming. It's time for Matinee Minutia with your hosts, DJ and Toppie.
Well, now. Wrong button. So, Toppie, how have you been, sir? How are you getting along there? And are you enjoying the fine weather?
Well, it got quite humid today, and I bet in Maryland, D'Manda, did it just like get really warm and humid over there?
Yes. So I'm not an outdoors person. I don't know if you know. But yes, it actually got super gorgeous today. It got to be about 81, 82-ish. So I'm down in the southern part of Maryland. And yeah, it was absolutely stunning today, at least so my roommate told me when he went outside to sunbathe, and I had to stay on the computer to, work.
Mhm.
That's one thing that I have enjoyed, D'Manda. Now that I've been working at home for a while, I finally got that corner office with a view.
My favorite part is I get to lay down at my desk.
I'm sure there are some pinup girl poses out there somewhere. But yes, we got to some humid temperatures here, and we even got a thunderstorm just as I was getting ready for the show tonight.
Yeah.
So, Toppie, I think we should cue the folks in about tonight's film. Shall we go ahead and play that trailer?
Well, I've got just a little bit of a synopsis, and I thought D'Manda might want to read it. And if you can do that, D'Manda, we'll play the trailer. We'll play the trailer right after that.
Okay, so Shelley Long stars as Phyllis Neffler, a pampered Beverly Hills housewife, I can relate, who becomes the leader of her daughter's wilderness girls troupe to prove her divorce-seeking husband, played by Craig T. Nelson, that she's still the caring woman that he married.
Phyllis Neffler's life was a symphony of spending.
This one. Out. I'll take the rest. I started my new meaningful life today, and I bought a whole new meaningful wardrobe to go with it.
Until her husband stopped the music.
You never give me an ounce of credit for anything I do.
That's because you never do anything.
Well, then I guess I'm going to do something right now.
Approve.
Mom's going to be our new troop leader.
Who are you? Phyllis Neffler, Troop Beverly Hills.
Now she's changing her style.
Well, girls, are you ready to rough it?
From Rodeo Drive.
I can't let you take the girls out there alone.
Why not?
Because you get lost in your walk-in closet.
To Cookie Drives.
That jamboree thing sounds fabulous. My troop is definitely going. What is a jamboree?
From Room Service.
Is this what you call roughing it? One bathroom for 9 people? Yes.
To Public Service.
Today I am here to demonstrate for you CPR. Lie down and open your mouth.
Last time I did this, I got more than a patch for it.
And from High Society.
Do you like people to call you dictator or just Dick?
To High Adventure.
I'm sure it's very nice to know how to live in the forest and eat bark. You can prance these little princesses through Beverly Hills all you want. But you will never really be a real wilderness girl. We'll be fine. We're Troop Beverly Hills.
Shelley Long.
What an adventure. Isn't nature fabulous, girl?
Troop Beverly Hills. She's not a babe in the woods.
You just quit it now.
Not until we sing Kumbaya.
Whoa. D'Manda, what we like to do is this movie came out in 1989. We just like to set up the history, like what was going on in the world at the time. And DJ wants to play this little newsroom teletype sound effects. Let him do that.
Okay.
DJ.
Well,
Here
as
is the
someone not alive in 1989.
No. We never suggested that.
So in 1989, Los Angeles City Council bans the sale of possession of semi-automatic weapons.
Yeah.
Huh.
That probably,
Okay.
that was effective.
I wonder why they would have done that. Unemployment drops to 5%, the lowest since 1973. Sunspot activity caused an outage in the Quebec-based hydroelectric dam, leaving 6 million people without power for 9 hours.
That would not have been pleasant.
No, terrible. The first time a privately owned rocket had orbited a payload TV satellite, Congress passed legislation to raise the minimum wage from $3.35 to $4.25 an hour by April 1991, and it has not risen since.
I seriously wonder. I think it is still down there. I do. So we had some celebrity births. These are people you're going to know, and they were born in 89. Cord Overstreet. He's an actor. And
Jesus Christ.
He was on that Glee show, D'Manda.
I'm aware of who White Chocolate is from Glee.
All right. So Tyler Oakley, he's a musician. He's on all over YouTube.
Musician, I think very, very loosely. He's a YouTube personality.
There you go.
Let's not give him more credit than he's got.
Now, this next guy might be more of a musician. Jason Derulo. He's into urban and R&B.
Yeah. So you'll know every song he does because he always says his name before the song starts.
Oh, how about that, folks?
So you always know that it's him.
And not only do we have movie trivia, that right there was music trivia.
So speaking of trivia, I play trivia every Thursday night with a group of friends on Discord because, quarantine and all of that.
Right.
And listen, my friends, we're very smart. We're very, we love trivia. We love like little random facts. And our biggest pet peeve is when people who run trivia don't research their topics enough and they give the wrong answers. And then you're like, no, I know this. Excuse me. Oh, such a lady. When and they're like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, well, according to these 7 articles that I found, it is true. So again, if it's easily Googleable, then you didn't do enough research. Anyway, sorry. Neither here nor there, really, honestly.
That's right. DJ, when Troop Beverly Hills came out in the theaters, it had some competition. What were the other movies going on right then?
Okay, well, in 1989, the top of the box office, which, is not something we usually talk about, but we have Batman with Michael Keaton, and he was my favorite Batman. That brought in $251 million.
All right, just keep that little figure in mind, folks. $251 million
in 89. Okay, and number 2 was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So it's the last movie with Harrison Ford, and also had Sean Connery, and that brought in
it wasn't the last one. They had that 4th one, unless you're just not counting that one on purpose.
Oops.
Yep, that's right. There was that's right.
And the 3rd in the top of the box office was Lethal Weapon 2, which had, of course, Mr. Mel Gibson, tinfoil hat wearing, and Danny Glover.
Yep. All right, folks. Now here's where I want you to keep in mind that $251 million by Batman. Troop Beverly Hills made how much, DJ?
Well, you gotta divide that and carry the one. But it was number 95 at the box office. It brought in 8.5 million. And it might have broken even.
Listen, but, we like to stick up for the underdog movie on here, but I do have to say that Troop Beverly Hills. What this means is Troop Beverly Hills was beat out by a movie called She Devil with Roseanne.
Ooh, such a good movie.
So, and then a movie called Tap with Gregory Hines. And then a movie called Renegades with Kiefer Sutherland and Lou Diamond Phillips. They all beat Troop Beverly Hills?
So what's interesting to me is that yes, it was number 95 in 1989, but again, we have to remember that by the late 80s, home movies was such a thing. Like Blockbuster, and so when I was growing up, it was Blair Video, in 1989, we still had a Betamax at my home. So like that's how all of these movies that even though they didn't do well in the box office still became so popular. Why we call them cult favorites, because people rented them and then they became so popular while people watched them at home. And I think Troop Beverly Hills is definitely one of those movies that became such a thing after it left the theaters.
I agree. It certainly seemed. I think today we could definitely say this movie has a long-lasting cult status.
Definitely
just a favorite camp movie. Because
even just a few weeks ago, Gigi Good on season 12 of RuPaul's Drag Race did a Phyllis Neffler inspired look on the runway of RuPaul's Drag Race. And Gigi Good, who was probably born in 2012. Like let's be honest, she's like 21, so she's probably born like 1999, I guess. She's very young. So the fact that she still knows who who Phyllis Neffler is just goes to show you like how much of a cult classic and gay cult classic, because most of the people that I know that love this movie are homosexuals. And it really just is like Phyllis Neffler's fashion in this movie. It just killer. One of these days, I'm also going to do the Phyllis Neffler like cape and all of that stuff. But so good.
Speaking of that, let's take a moment to visit the film. I have a moment here that reveals the very same uniform that we're talking about. Here we go.
How's it look?
I like it. It's great. It's great.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's not that bad.
Not that bad. Except for the color's wrong, the collar's wrong, the material's a nightmare from hell. Cut badly, it itches, and it's not me. But all of that can be fixed. Henri? Oh, Henri.
My God, darling. What is that?
I know, it's my wilderness girl uniform. What can you do with it?
You mean besides burn it?
Oh my God.
Burn it. Burn it is the answer. The original.
Well, who we heard there was Shelley Long. And I think we should get into she's full of interesting an interesting past. Amanda, let's start at the beginning, way back in 1975.
Sure.
What do we know about her?
So her first notable role came in the 1979 Natalie Wood television movie, The Cracker Factory, as a psychiatric inmate. The same year, she guest starred on Family and Trapper John M.D. In 1980, she appeared in her first feature film role, A Small Circle of Friends, a film about the social unrest at Harvard University during the 1960s, and it was a critical success. Long's first major film role was an 81 Caveman with Ringo Starr and Dennis Quaid. The director, Dr. Detroit with Dan Aykroyd, followed by Night Shift in 82 with Henry Winkler and Michael Keaton, Batman, which was a Ron Howard film. Incidentally, around this time, she was also offered the role of Mary, the mother in E.T., but she declined because she had already assigned to appear in Night Shift.
Whoops.
Which is interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, Night Shift was still pretty popular, was it not? I mean, I've definitely heard of it.
Yeah, it was a bit of a hit maker, and I believe it was Ron Howard's very not first movie. That's not true, but one of his more successful movies. His first movie was a car movie. It was a really cheap Eat My Dust. Remember that movie?
Oh, yes.
Dust.
Oh yes, it was in what was it Duel, wasn't it?
No. He wasn't in. No, that didn't have anything to do with Duel. It was just. It was just a Ron Howard movie called Eat My Dust, and it was just a teenage. I've got a fast car. Stupid movie.
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of that movie in '81, Caveman Toppie, for the longest time, I had that confused with one of Daryl Hannah's first movies because she played a primitive cave woman type in something called Clan of the Cave Bear.
What a wonderful confusion. I love it.
I mean, that's definitely a thing that happened.
I just remember these huge eggs that were in, like, it looked like a hot spring, and Shelley Long's character is one of the people who was trying to steal the eggs from the prehistoric bird.
I have no memory. So we're going to flash up to 1982. And here it was, Shelley Long was cast in her most well-known role as Diana Chambers on NBC's long-running sitcom Cheers. And Cheers started out really not on good footing. But after about 2 seasons, it really started to pick up viewers, and it became a certifiable hit. And Shelley Long did 5 seasons before she decided, you know what? I'm just not going to renew my contract. I'm going to do movies. And so she did. And she was also doing movies at the very same time she was doing Cheers. And during that period, she made 4 movies. And these are some of her more well-known, I believe. Irreconcilable Differences, The Money Pit, Outrageous Fortune, one of my favorites, and
one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah, that is amazing. And then finally, Hello Again. She made all those while she was making Cheers.
So, Outrageous Fortune.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much. So, again, we had Betamax. And I still remember so by the time that VHS came around, my father, bless his soul, he's just one of those people, he never moves on to the next thing. Like, he is going to stick with what he knows. So our local movie rental place, Blair's Video, they would start like selling us the Betamax movies at super cheap because they wanted to get rid of them. And they're like, oh, you guys are the ones who take the Betamax. So I remember very clearly the Betamax case, and it had the Outrageous Fortune thing with them hanging off, Shelley Long and Bette Midler hanging off a cliff. And I was like, what is this movie? This like action comedy starring 2 ladies? Because it's pretty much like every action comedy, where it's like 2 people who do not get along at the beginning and they're total opposites and they're forced together to like, solve whatever this crazy hijinks is going on. And my favorite part of that movie is at the very beginning when Shelley Long is in dance class and she does the giant leap, and because everybody's like, oh, I'm going the furthest, and Shelley Long does it, and after she goes by, one of the classmates goes, bitch, and I'm like, yes, and I remember when I was little being like, oh, that's gonna come into play later. That giant leap, like that's a skill that is going to happen later. And that whole movie and also being someone who like wanted to be an actor, even for a performer from really young, like the fact that these 2 actresses like making it work, like on this crazy criminal investigation, like they're trying to fool the FBI, they're in with the Russian mob. George Carlin shows up for no reason. It's great. It's great.
Oh.
If people have not seen that movie, highly recommend.
All right. I'm gonna say let's check that out. And then D'Manda, after those movies and after Cheers, we know her first trip back to the movies was our movie tonight, Troop Beverly Hills.
And then it was followed by Don't Tell Her It's Me, Frozen Assets, and what I think that most people of a younger generation, younger than myself, would know her from, which is the Brady Bunch movies, the Brady Bunch movie and the Very Brady sequel, which when she played Carol Brady, and she had that perfect wig that matched. Oh, it was so good. So in 1990, Long returned to television for the fact-based ABC miniseries Voices Within the Lives of Trudy Chase. She received critical praise for it, which required her to portray nearly 20 personalities. See, I never saw that. I obviously saw the Sally Fields movie, and I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, that was Sybil.
Sybil, yes, I definitely remember Sybil, but I don't remember that one.
I don't either. I don't.
Maybe because it was something. It's probably something that my mom didn't want me to watch. Even though, like, we watched RoboCop and like Aliens as a child, so
there were just a few people shot in RoboCop, as I recall. 1 or 2 people were shot.
But anyway, this introduced her to more dramatic roles in TV after she starred in several more throughout the 90s.
All right, DJ, we're going to talk about her co-star, who really didn't have a whole lot to do with this movie, but it's Craig T. Nelson, and he played Phyllis Neffler's long-suffering husband. So, DJ, tell us about Craig T. Nelson.
Okay, and actually I'll do that in just a sec. Just wanted to mention we've got a chat room full of folks who've joined us tonight. We've got our regular Aunt Tudor, who's sort of our pep squad of the Marionette. And we also have Tommy has dropped by. Earlier, we had Maureen show up. And a friend of the show, Cronehaven, dropped by. And it looks like we have a first-time visitor. We have Baloo, formerly of the Podcubs podcast.
Well, goodness gracious. Hello there, Baloo.
Thank you for dropping by the Marionette. And
yes.
So now on to Mr. Craig T. Nelson. And this is Freddie Neffler, the Muffler King. His first big role was on Private Benjamin, the TV series in 1980. And then in 82, he was in Poltergeist. As well as in 83, he was in Silkwood with diva Meryl Streep and even bigger diva Cher. And he had 9 roles on films in his first 5 years. Now, prior to Beverly Hills, he was in a film called Me and Him. Not much to say about that. But then he was in Turner and Hooch. And that had Tom Hanks. And if I'm not mistaken, it was one of Jackie Gleason's last films.
I swear I saw that movie. I do not remember Jackie Gleason. I do not remember Jackie Gleason.
He was his dad, and I remember it because you got to see Tom Hanks in a pair of low-rise briefs.
I just remember this big slobby dog. That's all I remember.
Yeah, honestly, that's all I remember too. Is just the fact that it was just a big slobbery dog.
I was going to say that was Jackie Gleason, the poor man.
Oh no, it certainly was not. Oh my god!
Greg would be cast in the lead of the Coach TV series. Now, that ran for 8 years. And most recently, Craig Nelson starred in Parenthood from 2010 to 2015 with Gilmore Girls co-star Heather Graham.
Not Heather Graham, Lauren Graham. Heather Graham's the blonde from the Austin Powers movie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sending me out my graham crackers.
So my favorite Craig T. Nelson role is actually the dad in Family Stone with Diane Keaton and a huge ensemble cast. It's definitely like a favorite that my mom and I watch. So at Christmas time, Aliens, if you guys remember from when I was at Farpoint talking about movies that we watch. So Aliens, Family Stone, and White Christmas. Like if those movies mean Christmas to me.
That is quite a mix, Amanda. That is quite a mix. All right, folks. So we're gonna talk about our next actress in the movie, and she's Audra. I love that name. Not Audrey, Audra Lindley. And she's played the head leader of the Los Angeles County Wilderness Girls. She was primarily a TV actress. All you gonna know her when I tell you that her most well-known role was Mrs. Roper on Three's Company.
Mm-hmm.
And she did lots of other guest spots and appearances here and there. But excuse me, the heart of her career was on stage. Here we go. Folks, I swear I watched Troop Beverly Hills. I swear I did. And it was just about a week ago. But there were cameos in this movie.
Okay, so before we move on to cameos,
yes.
I feel as though we have missed one of the most important roles in the entire movie, which is Shelley Morrison as her maid. Shelley Morrison, who has recently passed away, I think like a year or so ago, who is now most famous for being Rosario on Will and Grace. She says the infamous line, which is stolen from, another movie, where they're talking about the badges. And she goes, "Badges! We don't need no stinking badges!"
And is that the line that Ren and Stimpy went off on for so long?
I'm sure it is. Because what's the original line? The original line is it Badgers? No, I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just know that Ren and Stimpy would say, "Blah blah, we don't need no stinking blah blah."
I'm sure that's what it is.
And in Toppie, ironically, you mentioned Ren and Stimpy. Now, for those of you who have caught Troop Beverly Hills, did you happen to notice a little nice piece of animation in the beginning sequence of the film?
Yeah, it was very Ren and Stimpy-ish.
And it was actually done by Mr. Crickfalusi.
So it was originally Badges. We don't need no stinking badges, which was the Treasure of Sierra Madre.
Oh, Lordy,
a 1948 film.
Wow.
And in 2005, it was chosen number 36 as the one of the best known things. So it was Blazing Saddles, I believe, that turned it into there was still Badges, and then there was one there where it was Badgers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so in True Beverly Hills, she changed it to Patches.
All right, folks. This is one of the reasons why D'Manda Martini is perfect for our little show. That was quite a bit of trivia all there.
Sorry. It's called Wikipedia.
Yeah.
But I knew it was a reference to something, but
that's D'Manda's rarely referenced cousin. So folks, we are at the about halfway mark through the show, so you have a choice for our intermission. We can either have some cookies or we can have a reunion. Which one do you say?
I don't know. I mean, did you say cookies?
Do you want cookies or a reunion, D'Manda?
I don't know what that means. What's a reunion?
It's the cast reunion.
Oh yeah, cast reunion.
So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, please follow us out to the lobby as we have reached the midpoint in our program. And our senior showgirl here will be behind the snack counter, serving up all of your favorite treats. So,
that's me.
please stand by, and we have a evening news revisit to the cast of Troop Beverly Hills on Entertainment Tonight, the 30th reunion.
Look, all my Wilderness Girls dreams came true that day. The cast of Troop Beverly Hills together again and at the Beverly Hills Hotel nonetheless. It just makes me want to sing Kumbaya. So break out your badges and your cookie boxes for a reunion 30 years in the making. Look at these beautiful girls. I do want to start out giving you guys a little gift. We got you a little gift. Is there a moment that stands out shooting this to you all 30 years later?
I think Cookie Time was pretty fabulous.
And that's a really good song.
Right, honey?
Oh my God. Gather round.
Here we go.
Just like that. We're wilderness girls and it's cookie time. We work hard and we made it. So buy a box and do your share. She wasn't lip syncing.
No, we know this now.
Wait, how many people come up to you and ask you to sing that though?
Everybody.
You still get it?
I get it. I get that, and I get, excuse me, officer. Don't you know who this man is?
He's the best. He's the greatest. He's my dad, James, the jackhammer Shaka.
It feels good.
Who are you?
Phyllis Niffler. Troop Beverly Hills.
I do want to gush about Shelley Long for 1 second here, because for me, this role, and I really believe it was underappreciated in so many ways for a comedic actress.
I may be a beginner at some things, but I've got a black belt in shopping.
The physical comedy was so fantastic.
Yeah, there's a scene where the rain, they had the, they made it rain.
I just love that scene because we're just cheering you on and we want you to make it so bad.
Right.
And then we have our kumbaya. I just loved that.
The
That was so
kumbaya.
fun.
Not until we sing kumbaya.
Was the kumbaya thing an improv? I feel like that came up.
It
in
was
this
an
scene.
improv during the table read.
That's right.
Oh.
That's right.
And I just broke into kumbaya.
Kumbaya, my lord.
And the Ghostbusters 2 guys wanted to use kumbaya, but we already have it.
I love the smell of cookies in the morning.
Betty Thomas played the Red Feathers' villainous leader, Velda.
Right, Mom? Nix on the mom business.
I call you Mom. You always tell me to nix on the mom business.
That's right. After Troop Beverly Hills, Betty left acting and became one of the most successful female directors in Hollywood.
I quit acting after that. I was like, help me, let me out of here.
Couldn't get out of it fast enough.
If I'm at the airport and I start saying, hey, hand me that thing, there's a blue light special on that. Attention Kmart shoppers. I've had people come up to me, young women come up to me and say, oh my God, you're Velda Plender. I know, my voice never changed.
And Tori, it was her last acting role. It was your first acting role, right?
It was. Where are you guys from? Mars?
Worst. Beverly Hills.
Obviously, I had a small part, but I just loved watching. And the costumes, though, I feel like you watch them now, you're like, oh my gosh, iconic.
Did you have a favorite look, Shelley?
The dress with the bird on the shoulder is pretty fabulous.
But you know, it misses the point.
I have a favor to ask, please, and thank you. If we could end with a little Beverly Hills, what a thrill.
Yes,
Can
right.
we do it?
So you ready? Are we ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. We're the girls from Beverly Hills.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Shopping is our greatest skill.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Beverly Hills, what a thrill. Beverly Hills, what a thrill.
Best day ever.
And we have returned from the reunion.
All right.
Such good stuff. Such good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now, I was about to say, I had watched the movie, and there were lots of cameos. I'm just going to list them off. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Frankie Avalon, Dr. Joyce Brothers, Annette Funicello, Robin Leach, Cheech Marin, Ted McKinley, Pia Zadora. Was I asleep? I missed them. I did not see them. Did you guys see them?
So a lot of them were at either the big parties or when they were selling cookies in Beverly Hills, because that's the joke.
Okay. So DJ, do you remember seeing any of them?
Yeah, the first one was Frankie and Annette, and that was when the Beverly Hills troupe had decided to abandon their campground because nature happened.
I remember that.
Yeah, they tucked themselves in at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and Frankie and Annette were jogging on a scene just before they joined them in the hotel room.
Oh, jeepers! I swear, what the hell? All right. The other fun thing about Troop Beverly Hills are the child actors in it, and they grew up, and we still know a whole lot of them. So let's talk about them. Anybody had a favorite kid in this cast?
So one of the reasons that I wore this specific hair this evening, this is not a wig, this is my hair, is because so Carla Oh, no, I'm not going to mispronounce her name because I looked it up and then I forgot. Gugino? So she played Chica in the movie. So she has been in a ton of stuff. We have listed here. She's on Falcon Crest. She's also most recently in The Haunting of Hill House. But so this hair I bought to cosplay as Carla's role as Sally Jupiter from the Watchmen movie, which is one of my favorite roles of hers. So again, if you go to my social medias and you search around and you find my Silk Spectre cosplay, this is that hair. It's just a little restyled for that. But yeah, I love her. One of my other roles that I most remember her for is in. Sorry, it's on the tip of my tongue. It is another comic book movie. It's the one that's in all black and white, and I'm not thinking of it. Sin City. Sorry, Sin City. She plays a therapist who then gets like wrapped up in all the stuff, and she gets her hands cut off. It's all very terrible and horrible, but anyway, she's very lovely. I've always enjoyed her as an actress.
Awesome. My favorite was Kelly Martin because I remember her from a television series called Life Goes On.
Ooh, with Patti LuPone and Corky.
Yes. And I loved that show. And I loved Kelly Martin in it.
So she so a couple of other things that I loved Kelly Martin in. So again, I loved Life Goes On growing up. And in fact, Corky, now I feel bad because I can't remember his real name, but he actually came to my middle school to talk to us. And at the time, so when it was like in the mid 90s, it was still very much that people with Down syndrome did not live very much past the age of 40. And he had just celebrated his 30th birthday. And so he was very excited about the fact that, he was still living and thriving. And anyway, very lovely. I used to work with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I always loved that show as kind of a thing that, got me into that kind of line of work. But I loved her on ER, but I also kind of love watching her get brutally murdered on ER, which I know is terrible, but
listen, I have chosen to tune into that demise of Kelly Martin twice. And I mean, it's good TV. That's all I can say.
TV. And the thing is, it's because she's such like a nice, good character that to like take her out in such a horrible way was just so like, oh my God. But then the other movie that I really liked her in, which again deals with people with intellectual disabilities, is it was a movie she played Rosie O'Donnell's daughter, and Rosie O'Donnell plays a woman with an intellectual disability, and you find out that she's the child of rape. And it was a very good TV movie. I remember crying like a baby at that.
I recall that. Yep.
And recently, sorry, Kelly Martin. So Kelly Martin was in a terrible Hallmark movie where it was literally like Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, but Kelly Martin as a doctor. It was very, very dumb, very weird, but I was like, okay, I'm into this. I'll watch this for a moment.
I love it. DJ, any favorites from those kids in that cast?
Oh, goodness. Well, I certainly recognize Tori Spelling. I mean, who couldn't?
Yeah.
90210 is one of the shows that I watched in high school. But of course, this was her first film role. And for a moment, I didn't quite recognize her until I realized she wasn't yet a blonde.
And still had her original nose.
Yeah. And the other person that I recognized was the blonde friend of Mrs. Knepfler's girls, Amy Foster. She played the kind of rich best friend in the 80s.
So also, Heather Hopper, who played Tessa, I remember her because I loved Good Morning Miss Bliss, which eventually turned into Saved by the Bell. Also, Tori Spelling was on that as well. But it was interesting the fact that she was not one of the characters chosen to move on from Good Morning Miss Bliss to Saved by the Bell, because she was kind of like that. She was definitely like Jessie Spano before they made her Jessie Spano.
Now, of course, also Good Morning Miss Bliss starred Haley Mills, which I don't know if you're aware, D'Manda, but Haley Mills is one of the guests that's slated to appear at the Mid-Atlantic NostalgiaCon.
Ooh. First of all, I would only accept Haley Mills if it was Haley Mills and Haley Mills. I mean, and I want to see Let's Get Together live.
Oh yes. Well, I was saying to Toppie, like some of the top 3 of the guests for NostalgiaCon literally are Haley Mills, her sister, and her brother-in-law. Like they're on the same flight.
I mean that's fine. So so while we're kind of like in that late 80s mode, and we brought up Haley Mills and we kind of brought up Good Morning Miss Bliss, but can we talk about Parent Trap 2 for a moment?
Oh God.
So we did not have cable growing up. As I said, my dad like hated anything that was new and fresh. So I could only watch cable when we were like on vacation and we were in like a hotel or a condo or something. And I remember we were in North Carolina, Topsail, North Carolina, in a hotel, and it was on the Disney Channel. It was Parent Trap 2, and I was like, they made a second one, and I was like, why is she so old?
Well, it was years later, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because it was filmed in like 1989, like 88, 89. And I believe it was a Disney. It was just a Disney Channel original. It was not like a theatrical release. But my favorite part of the movie is so it's the 2 best friends that get like the 2 sisters to swap places. But the little girl's like, oh, Ralph Macchio, he's such a hottie. And I was like, Ralph Macchio. Like, this movie's old. But I mean, when I was little, obviously, I mean, when like I watched it recently, but oh my gosh, so funny. Because I bought the DVD where it's like the Parent Trap and Parent Trap 2 in the same package. But oh my gosh, surprisingly not on Disney Plus. I wonder why.
Yeah, I mean that predated even the Olsen twins and their bad movie.
Yeah, but the Parent Trap 2, but Haley Mills. Anyway, but yeah, it is very weird that they only chose the 3 characters from Good Morning Miss Bliss to move on to Saved by the Bell, because I know that obviously Haley Mills was like, I'm done, I'm out. But it was interesting that they didn't like bring all of the other kids with them.
All right, folks, let's talk about the couple of the creative people. Let's talk about the director and the writers. DJ Jeff Canoe was the director.
Yes, get in your boat because he's going to make a film. Mr. Canoe, he's an American film director. He's also a screenwriter and a film producer. He began his career by doing the editing of trailers for many films of the 70s. In a world.
I bet he was the original.
Canoe directed Gotcha in 1985 and Tough Guys in 86, and the final film pairing of actors Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster. What a landmark. He initially directed Douglas in 83's Eddie Macon's Run, and after Troop Beverly Hills, Canoe directed V.I. Warshawski, starring the legendary smoky voice Kathleen Turner, and of course also John Waters' film star Hello Maryland, and Natural Enemies starring Hal Holbrook and Louise Fletcher, and then also Bobby Jar, a Holocaust drama, and then lastly National Lampoon's Adam and Eve.
No memory.
All of these big names, big hits, huge successes.
Yeah. Except I have no memory of National Lampoon's Adam and Eve.
Neither have I. I've never heard of it. Like, I'm about to go look that up.
I mean, Brendan Fraser's probably in it.
He just sort of would fit right into that. I'm going to talk about the writers. So we got Ava Austin Fries, or Freeze. I'm pretty sure it's Freeze.
It's probably Freeze.
Yeah. And she's most well known for Born Famous and Off the Menu, The Last Days of Chasen's, and she's a writer. But the interesting thing about Ava Austin Freeze is that she came up with the story based on something that happened in her real life. and it's she in real life became the brownie leader of her 7-year-old daughter, and it was in Beverly Hills. And when they really went camping in real life, it rained, and they really went to the Beverly Hills Hotel where they roasted marshmallows in front of the fireplace. And that really happened to her, and it inspired this idea for the movie. And then finally, we have Pam Norris, and she wrote the screenplay based on Ava Ostenfrie's story. And Pam Norris wrote a whole lot for Saturday Night Live. And she also wrote a whole lot of scripts for Designing Women.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Did she write any of the infamous Julia Sugarbaker delightfulness?
That
Ooh.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. But
I mean, the thing is, you would only ever want to be credited on Designing Women if you wrote one of Julia Sugarbaker's infamous monologues.
Now, D'Manda, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Dixie Carter most famously was a right-wing political-leaning person. And as a theater actor, she put it into her contract that anytime they made her take a left-leaning stance with a speech on Designing Women, she got to
sing a song.
Yes, she got to sing a song.
She got to sing a song. Yes. Because listen, I will say whatever you want me to say, but you're going to give me a song.
Right. So, folks, we have reached the point where we're going to talk to you about a few things that were moments you shouldn't miss in this. So if you haven't seen Troop Beverly Hills before, what's wrong with you? And you want to freeze frame and not miss these moments. So, D'Manda, tell us, what do you think are the moments that people should not miss when watching this film?
I mean, the fashion, just the Phyllis Neffler, again, is such a fashion icon. Like that, I mean, like I said before, the fact that to this day, a drag queen who is literally but a fetus still knows who Phyllis Neffler is and makes a costume based on her uniform is just amazing. The skunk hat is another good one. But of course, like when why did it just fall out of my head? What is it? Where they're like doing the stupid dance and kicking their legs.
The Freddy.
The Freddy. Do the Freddy. And she's wearing those stupid jodhpurs doing the Freddy because jodhpurs are a thing that one wears.
Do you remember what she said to the girls as she reached that part in the dance lesson where she said, because her husband's name was Freddie, she says, "I know, girls, life can be ironic."
Yeah, I just remember watching that movie being like, I want to be one of these girls who just like doesn't understand what the outdoors are. And just, be cute and pretty and rich. Because isn't there the one girl who's like dad is some sort of like dictator for like a foreign country?
Yeah, that's what he's presented as. Yeah.
It's so good, so stupid, but yeah, I love this movie. All
right, DJ, what's one of your favorite scenes?
So for my favorite moment you shouldn't miss, I'm going to play a clip. It's a scary story when the girls are in the hotel.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Listen, Neffler, it's your turn.
A scary story?
Yeah.
Okay. It was a cold and rainy day in March. I went to Christophe's where I usually get my hair done, but Christophe had mysteriously disappeared. And in his place was a stranger named Ronaldo.
How dare he?
I forget him. eyes were steely gray, very cold, and his hands like ice. He said, I'll streak your hair, and I'll give you a body wave. He worked very fast, and then, as he turned my chair around to face the mirror, I saw it. He permed me!
Okay, so I'm stealing that audio and I'm putting it in a mix for some drag number soon because that is fantastic. He permed me!
That's beautiful.
Oh, yes, with a wig reveal. That would be amazing.
All right. For me, I'll just round it out with my favorite scene is just the fact that they had this misadventure outside and they wind up in the hotel and there they are camping in the hotel. That was probably my favorite.
I mean, that's literally me camping.
And you know, we haven't mentioned it yet, but this movie literally invented the term glamping, glamour camping.
Okay, all
And
right.
I have been camping numerous times. I hate it. People are always like, no, you just haven't camped right. No, bitch, I've camped numerous times. Sorry, everybody. I have camped. I've done it in Wyoming. I've done it in Utah. I've done it in Maryland. I've done it in Pennsylvania. I've done it in Virginia. It's terrible. It's literally the worst thing ever. Ever.
I mean, there's nowhere for servants.
No, there's nowhere for my assistant to stay. Like, no, I a lot of my friends are big campers and they go camping. I'm like, do you know what? You guys go have fun. I'll see you guys when you get back. Like, it's just not fun for me. It's not at all fun.
Wise move, D'Manda, as far as I'm concerned. What did I want? I wanted to ask both of you. Okay, so Craig T. Nelson. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly dreamy.
Were we supposed to like him in this movie?
I don't think so. Like, I don't think so. I mean, I know eventually they like get back together or whatever.
Yeah, they do.
But I don't think that we were necessarily supposed to like him.
It was just a little troubling to me. You know, that whole thing and I don't know. I didn't find a lot to like about him. That's all.
Well, and the thing is, I think that it's one of those things in like those 80s and 90s movies where there's really not enough time to really develop a full, well-rounded character because we need to get to we don't need no stinking patches. We need to get to the Freddy. We need to get to the fashion show. We need to get to them out in the real wilderness. That it's just like, he's there. She's no longer from a broken home. Don't we feel better about ourselves now? And it's just one of those things you just kind of like, nah, all right, fine. It's whatever.
You know, if they wanted me to like Freddie Neffler less, they probably should have casted Tom Arnold in that role.
Tom Arnold. Holy wow. Tom.
I want
So,
to
folks,
CJ, let me just leave with this last bit of trivia because it's fun. But the person that came up with the story we've mentioned, Ava Osten-Fries, she took it to Disney to peddle it, and Disney said, "Oh, we want Bette Midler in this movie."
Interesting.
And Freeze said, "Ew, I don't think she's right for it." And she took it away. She didn't want Disney to do it with Bette Midler. So Disney did not end up making the movie. But now if you go to Disney Plus, Disney owns the picture anyways, because that's just how they are.
Well, that's interesting. So that's because I think that Bette Midler actually would have been right. I mean, at the same time, she in 88, 89, she did Georgette in Oliver and Company, which is pretty much the same character.
You know, nothing to take nothing away from Shelley Long. Bette Midler would have killed this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely would have been an interesting take on it. Shelley Long was incredible in this movie. But that's interesting that that's another movie that was sort of that they wanted Bette Midler for and then didn't happen in like that like late 80s, early 90s, because Sister Act was another movie that was specifically written for Bette Midler, and she was not available or she declined, and that's when they rewrote it to make it Whoopi Goldberg, which again makes way more sense, and it definitely works a whole lot better with the fact that she's the black nun, especially then in like the later Broadway musical.
I think that she at that time was being sued by Martha Ray for doing For the Boys.
First of all, For the Boys, oh my God, that movie. I love that movie so much. I have sung stuff like that there before. P.S. I Love You is literally one of my favorite songs. I love For the Boys. That's a movie that always makes me cry. I cannot to this day hear that Beatles song in my life without crying because of when she sings it in the movie.
We'll have to have you back to discuss that and have you dressed as your bombshell dazzler.
Oh,
there you go. Well, let's wrap this up, DJ.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, are we done already?
I'm afraid so.
Are we done already?
So there's a few things you might like if you enjoyed Troop Beverly Hills. I'll go first. Well, around this time frame, the Troop Beverly Hills came out in 89. A couple of years before, there was a short-lived TV show called Rags to Riches. It only lasted one season, and it was about a self-made millionaire who was a frozen foods tycoon. He adopted 6 orphan girls to live in his Bel Air mansion, and this was set in the 60s, and it was supposed to be like an Orphan Annie type story.
That sounds creepy AF. Creepy AF. What is this man doing with all these orphan girls?
Exactly. And because Shelley Long was in Troop Beverly Hills, I am going to recommend my favorite Shelley Long film from a couple of years before. It was called Hello Again, and she's a woman who dies before her time and is brought back by a spell cast by her sister, and this film was directed by the man who brought us Mommy Dearest.
Who was the male co-star? Who was that?
That was Corbin Burnson.
Oh my God. Oh, that's right.
Balky from Perfect Strangers.
Well,
are you? Bronson Pinchot. I was like, wait. So who's Corbin Bronson? Remind me.
His most famous turn was in L.A. Law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kind of.
Sounds like Bronson Pinchot.
Yeah, and he got to be Q on Star Trek a couple of times, I think.
Oh, okay.
All right. D'Manda, thinking along the lines of Shelley Long and this movie and the kind of the gestalt it had, what does this movie inspire you to want other people to watch?
Well, I mean, we've kind of already talked about it, but and I know that it's kind of in your things to talk about, but Outrageous Fortune is one of my, like, it is a movie that when I find it, like because many years ago it was on Netflix. It's no longer on Netflix. When Netflix used to have like a ton of older films. I love that movie so much. I seriously want to remake that movie with like me and my friend Dax. Like just like it would be so stupid. Just like 2 drag queens like trying to solve crimes. Mm-hmm. So the most interesting part about that movie is Shelley Long's like goal in that movie is to play Hamlet, which is interesting that a woman wants to play Hamlet, but like not as a woman, as a man. And I've actually seen Hamlet done with a female actor, and it doesn't work. So it's interesting that like that's the thing that they like want to do. A side note of that as well. Hold on, I'm gonna look up his name really quick. But the guy who pretends to be in the class with them. Hold hold on. I accidentally spelled outrageous wrong. Outrageous. Oh, apparently Outrageous Fortune was also a series in New Zealand. Interesting. But the guy who plays the so Peter Coyote plays Michael Santers, which is hilarious because also I never found him super attractive. So I was like, he must have like a really nice something in order for both of these women to fall in love with him. But is it Christopher? No, not him. So Anthony Heald, I guess is his name. He plays like the guy who like pretends to be an actor in the class and he like and Stanislavski or whatever chokes him in the thing. He was so dreamy to me. Like I remember being like, "Oh, he's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Hey," and I was like, "Shelley Long, what are you doing? Like, why don't you flirt with him? Like that's cute." Anyway, but also again, Bette Midler in the movie when she gets on the phone with like is it the water company or the power company, and she totally bullshits her way out of having to pay her bill. Anyway, love that movie. Want to talk about it all the time.
Excellent. And I'm just going to add to it. You certainly, if you're interested in Shelley Long, don't miss her first 5 seasons on Cheers, where she creates a wonderful character, Diana Chambers, and she has to tread a very difficult space in Cheers. As a woman, you're not exactly supposed to like, but she's still someone you like. And that ain't easy. And she pulled it off. And so definitely check her out on Cheers. An excellent sitcom. And she did it for something like 5 seasons.
Okay, so before we say goodbye to our fabulous guest, we are going to step out here to the lobby, and we're going to go ahead and grab that bag of coins. Toppie, grab that off the shelf for me.
Let me grab that sack. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, put that in.
First of all, can people actually see my face when he said that? Because
yes.
Yeah. Let's start that again. So here's the coins. Okay, we're going to put that in the machine. All right, Toppie, grab that capsule for me and let me know what you see in there.
All right, gonna open the capsule. It's gonna tell us what we're doing. Oh, look at that. You know what? D'Manda Martini is gonna like this. We're gonna do next a TV series, Designing Women.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, because the writers who brought us Troop Beverly Hills brought us Designing Women, and we have just a cast full of talent. It's like a shopping list of who's who of the 80s. We've got Annie Potts, fresh off of Ghostbusters. We've got Meshach Taylor, who just was in Mannequin.
Some of my favorite stuff you're talking about right now.
And Jixie Carter. So that is going to be on our next episode, which, remember, folks, we record the first and third Friday of each month. So not next week, but on Friday, June 5th. Please return here to UniVoz, the same bat channel, same bat time.
All right. Excellent. D'Manda, you've been such a joy tonight.
Oh, you guys, thank you so much. I do enjoy talking nonsense with you both.
That we do. Now, you have a plethora of places people can find you. Tell us about some of them.
Yes. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at D'Manda, D'Manda Martini. So actually, I'm going to be announcing it tomorrow. So you guys are like exclusive.
Whoa.
I'm going to be doing a fundraiser for my local P-Flag chapter here in Southern Maryland, P-Flag Leonardtown. I'll be doing an online Facebook Live show, my Eleanor's New Deal Cabaret. We're going to be doing a benefit for them where all of the proceeds go to them. So again, look for the post. We'll be going live on the Eleanor's New Deal Cabaret Facebook page. So go find the Eleanor's New Deal Cabaret. And again, we'll be singing lots of LGBT sort of themed songs. We have an all LGBTQIA cast, which is very exciting. So I'm very, very thrilled for this pre-Pride season, since Pride is, canceled everywhere. To be what? Pride is never canceled. Sorry, Ben, my roommate, just is like, the parade is canceled. Pride is never canceled, which is true. So we're going to be celebrating Pride, raising money for PFLAG, Leonardtown. So that's going to be live on Saturday, May 30th at 8 p.m.
That is awesome. D'Manda, it is certainly apparent that you have not been resting on your laurels during that time.
Never. She would never.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us. And thanks again for those who were in the chat room here, Toppie. Let us know who came by tonight.
We're real thankful they're all here. It's great to see them all again. Aunt Tudor, Crone. We've got Maren Gertz, and it's possible one or two other people might have come in and out, but we thank you all so much. Tommy, there he goes. He left just a few minutes ago. And thanks, everybody, for showing up live for this program.
If you would, sir, please say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie. And D'Manda, mwah!
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. And if you stand by after our exit, we'll have a little dance to cookie time.
All right.
You're listening to Matinee Minutia. Our show streams live on the first and third Friday of the month.
Go to UniVozPods.net, click the tower for audio, enter Discord for chat.
You can find our show anywhere you listen to podcasts. Visit our webpage at matineeminutia.com.
Tweet us on Twitter at Matinee Minutia. Find our group on Facebook.
Have an idea for a show? Or let us know how we're doing.
Email us at matineeminutia@gmail.com.
Show's gone wild with Matt and Tom.
Speak up.
The Smellcast by Toppie Smellie.
Be heard.
Tastes like burning with Tim and James.
Unique voices in podcasting.
The Shy Life Podcast with me, Paul the Shy Yeti.
UniVozPods.net. Hey, and actually, that's a little loud, so I'm going to turn it down.
Never.
And,
Never.
This will be a video exclusive, so I'll be at that.
I checked, and we're definitely not live anymore.
Yep, I turned off the audio just for video.
All right.
We work hard and we made it. So buy a box and do your share. If you want the best taste, then you can find chocolate one of a kind. A peanut butter treat to blow your mind.
Oh, I want to try to do that. I can't do that.
What?
Come on down, it's cooking.
I love it.
Cookies, cigars, cigarettes, peanut butter or mint. Take American Express. We prefer Eastern. Cause such a buzz, full of sugar and spice, just like us. We need your dough, so I don't you pause. We're wilderness girls and we're a real good cause. If you wanna taste it, that's a nice and sweet. You won't find something better to eat. Doesn't your mouth taste of a tree? A box of them would be
They won't ruin your diet.
Piazzadora.
Miss Piazzadora.
I cut her off.
Goodness.
Well, that was fun. I'll go ahead and hit the end broadcast. So we're off of the audio and we just ended the video.